I think mixed people are supposed to be seen and not heard. And that's why they're usually models, which are just to be looked at. And that's it. You're just supposed to see how pretty they are. Or music video girls who are just the dancers in the background. And they're just made to look beautiful, and they are supposed to look sexy when they dance and they shake their ass. And you're just supposed to look at them and enjoy the view.
That is sexy.
You know, people are constantly telling you that you're attractive because you're so exotic looking. You know, I think it's, how could it not be hard to like have that integrated into your self-identity?
Coming up, I feel a lot of us didn't really know where to place ourselves. Like, I struggled with body image. I was anorexic for a period because I didn't really quite know what masculine ideal to look up to. So I just turned to what I saw as being universally acceptable, which was the fantasy image. Even to this day, no one that I knew during that period ever asked me why I did it or what it meant or what I was struggling with. And I had to really figure it out for myself. And it's only very recently that I figured out what I was trying to do.
It's only perpetuating this idealized perspective of mixedness, that it's trendy to be mixed. Like, that would be horrible. And I think that's pretty much where we are as a society right now, that it's trendy to be mixed and that you're guaranteed to have beautiful, exotic, mixed babies, and that it's the perfect combination of the both, and it's just really easy and great to be mixed in the United States, and that we're all just like gonna come out of the womb looking beautiful and feeling great.
Question. Let's say that we all were stranded on an island. Who would procreate with the other, and like, what would we do? Okay.
You know what I would want to do? I'd honestly
said
probably
island
want to
just
have
now.
his baby or
Yeah.
his baby, because if I were to start a new world, I would want it to be biracial.
I've seen the way that multiracial models are used sometimes in place of Asian or Black, you know, typically Asian or Black phenotypes. There's definitely part of me that likes to see greater acknowledgement of multiracial people across the board, but also recognizing how we don't want to be portrayed as kind of more palatable images of non-white people by the media.
Racism will definitely not go away if everyone's mixed. And I think that whole idea is pretty ludicrous, actually, but we're never going to be a perfect tan. And you can look at other countries where there isn't really a white population and everyone is mixed to a degree. There's such a hierarchy on skin tone. I think it's just a very liberal, multicultural idea of colorblindness that people are trying to impose upon our culture, as if like mixed people are the ideal just because like that will somehow eradicate racism. I think it's a very superficial way of looking at race problems in the United States.
In part, I think there is a sense in the United States, a desire and a fear. The fear is that we are reaching the time when whites will no longer be the majority in this country. And the desire is to manage that in such a way that you can still maintain white privilege. And so what you see, I think, is, and you see this in Newsweek and in Time magazine, they'll have these covers with these models that are the future of America and what America is going to look like in future years as we get more racial mixing and as whites are no longer the majority. And amazingly, it seems the future of America is a very attractive, relatively light-skinned woman who's gorgeous, who is slightly racially ambiguous, but also marked in many ways as white. And so I think what you get is this sense of we can use these racially ambiguous people to mark America in a way that is not dangerous, it is not threatening, and is still seen as sexually alluring.
Basically, what they're doing right now is utilizing, consciously or subconsciously, multiracial images as an escape. What they need to realize is that the multiracial image and multiracial people don't transcend or somehow nullify race and culture and identity. They complicate race and culture and identity.
When Americans talk about the transcendence of social barriers, when we talk about creating a new model citizen for an age of equality and diversity, we have to imagine that ideal citizen in terms of a mixture of colors, because that for us has been the fundamental way in which the society divides. It has its sort of commercial and exploitive side. From a cultural historian's perspective, in some ways it's a very positive thing.
I think the public at large should care about multiracial issues, if for nothing more, simply because of demographic trends. Census 2000 was the first time that people could identify with more than one race, and 7 million people did so.
I don't think that any intelligent discourse on race can happen without the discussion of mixed issues. So I think it's dangerous that people interpret these mixed images as being purely safe. They should interpret them as being very controversial, in fact. But this has not happened because they haven't been forced to listen to the voices behind the faces. The idea that we see these people, but we don't see them as people because they have not been presented to us as people, but merely as ideas. Multiracial people are a reality within this country and throughout the world, and you cannot claim to care about people of color or about confronting racial oppression or bias without engaging with multiracial people.